Hello, and welcome to Virtual Investor Conferences. My name is Matt Loteplo, and on behalf of OTC Markets, we're very pleased you have joined us for our next live presentation from NG Energy International Corp. Please note you can submit your questions in the box to the left of the slides. You can also view a company's availability for one-on-one meetings through the Schedule Meetings tab found on the conference platform. At this point, I'm very pleased to welcome George Nendick, Corporate Development, and Vincenzo Paglione, Vice President of Planning of NG Energy International Corp, which trades on the OTCQX Best Market under the symbol GASXF and on the TSXV under the symbol GASX. Welcome, George and Vincenzo.
Thank you for having us. Thanks for joining, everybody. So we'll get right into it here. Company overview. So we trade on the Canadian Venture Exchange under GASX. Over the counter in the United States, we trade at GASXF. We also have a listing in Frankfurt. Our market capitalization is about 140 million Canadian today. We think this is a very attractive valuation, and we'll get into that over the course of this presentation. Insider ownership is between 40 and 60%. If we're including close associates, friends, and family, it's probably closer to 60. We've had fantastic participation on our last three financings from insiders and close associates. Those have been done by way of convertible debenture units. Those are convertible between 70 cents and $1.20. It's the intent of the company to convert those units prior to maturity, just to lighten up a bit on the debt. Bird's eye view of Colombia here, and the three assets in our portfolio on the blue map on the screen. C9 is the company flagship. We're situated in Cordoba, in between Canacol on the east side of the property. Canacol is the largest independent producer in the country. To the west and directly south, we've got Hochsol, which is subsidiary company of the state-owned Ecopetrol. We're about 20 kilometers away from the Promagas network that services Cartagena and a lot of the major hubs. In a great spot and very excited to develop C9 further. Maria Conchita, we're currently producing from Maria Conchita. We've got production at about 7 million standard cubic feet per day. We're looking to ramp that production with the tie-in of RHR3, which was a development well that we recently drilled here. On our way down to the target zone in this development well, we hit a new naturally fractured section that Vincenzo will get into a bit later in the presentation. But it's really redefined our expectations for the Maria Conchita field. And then finally, Tibon. Vincenzo will also touch on Tibon, but not a core focus for the company at the moment, but certainly something that we're very excited to have in our portfolio. Massive potential. It's onshore, on the northern tip there of Colombia. Not great access to infrastructure today, but something that we're definitely quite excited about. And from free cash flow with C9 and Maria Conchita, something that we hope to drill in the medium term. On the left-hand side of the screen, you can see our reserves and resources. Over the coming months, we do expect, to see a bit of an upgrade in two regards to this. So first, I mentioned this new zone at Maria Conchita. This is not included in our current resource base, so we will be getting an upgrade from Petrotech, as well as having infrastructure deals in place now at C9 is going to allow us to convert a good part of our contingent resources over to P2 and P3 categories. So definitely something to keep an eye on. We're very excited, to keep growing our reserves and resources. Analyst coverage, we've got Canaccord, Beacon, and Balans covering the story. If anybody is looking for the latest research, please reach out, by phone or by email to the investor email. Be more than happy to get you the latest research. So the management and board, I think, the main thing I want to highlight here is the depth of experience in Colombia and the success that our management team has had in Colombia. So Serafino Acono was part of the senior management team at Pacific Rubiales with Ronald Pantene. They grew that company to 300,000 barrel per day producer. It had multi-billion in market capitalization. Today it's known as Frontera Energy. So this management team has been in Colombia before. They've done it before. And we're looking to do it again here with fantastic assets. Federico, Jorge, Vincenzo, and Marianella are all part of our team in Bogota. Spend the bulk of their time there. All have fantastic resumes in industry, and we're very happy to have them. On our board, in the summertime, we made we announced Brian Pez Braga as chairman and had a few additions to our board. So Brian Pez Braga, he is managing partner at SAF Group, which is a leading structured credit and merchant banking group based out of Calgary. Brian's had many successes in his career. He sold his first company, Lithium X, to a company called NextView before his 30th birthday for $235 million. He's sat in the chairman role before. He's been a chairman at Thunderbird Entertainment. And the company had great success in his tenure there. He brings a great deal of enthusiasm and passion, and we're very happy to have him on as chairman. Ronald Pantene is the former chairman of the company, and we're very happy to have him stay on as director. Brings a depth of experience in Latin American oil and gas. Had a long career at PDVSA and also was a big part of the team with Serafino at Pacific Rubiales. Humberto is a former president of OPEC, the largest oil and gas association in the world. So say no more there. We're very happy to have Humberto sit on our board. Les Murgas is the active president for Naturgas, which is the Natural Gas Association in Colombia. She brings a depth of great experience and knowledge on the landscape in Colombia. Very, very happy to have on our board. And Don Sewell and Brian O'Neill also are partnered at SAF Group, and bring a great deal of capital markets and corporate governance experience to our team. So yeah, we've got a very well-rounded team, and that's what it takes. So we're very happy with what we've kind of put together here. In terms of our technical team on the ground, just would like to give them a big shout out. As we've got a small team in Colombia, but they've done fantastic work over the last quarter here as we've hit major milestones and had a successful drilling of our RHR3 well. So the investment highlights for the company. The company's vision is to be a 200 million cubic feet per day producer, with multi-TCF and reserves. I've touched on the team. We believe we've got two of the best assets in Colombia. We're fully permitted at CNU9 for 22 wells. We're surrounded by fantastic infrastructure at both CNU9, Emeria, Conchita. CNU9, we've got the Promagas network very close by. at Maria Conchita, we're already tied into the TGI network there that runs north to south. So it gives you, bilateral capacity to the Colombian coastal market, but also the interior. But yeah, I think, you've really got the foundations of early days for a great company here that's looking to carve out, a meaningful piece of, the natural gas market in Colombia. And next I'll touch on Colombia and the pricing environment there, which is a very, very big investment highlight. The macro backdrop is certainly elite for natural gas in Colombia. It's a great place to do business. They've got a double B plus rating from Fitch Ratings. Gustavo Petro and his administration have been in power there for about 2 years. They're very in favor of natural gas. They understand, the supply deficit that they are facing without, big natural gas discoveries. So it's definitely a great place to be permitted and ready to make natural gas discoveries. I mentioned, Colombia's facing a deficit. So the country consumes about a BCF of gas per day. You're seeing demand increase from factories to households to transportation. It's certainly the demand for nat gas in Colombia is going up, but at the same time, unfortunately, you're seeing supply dwindle. There's been a lack of investment and a lack of exploration, which leaves you with about a 7-year runway of reserves. So, we look to be a big solution to this problem. We want to stay focused on upstream and make big discoveries and, add to our reserve base, but also, contribute to the country's reserves in a meaningful way. Just from that supply and demand, you're obviously left with a pricing situation that's very favorable for us. We trade much higher than North American markets in terms of pricing. Right now you're seeing on the spot market in Colombia about $750 per million BTUs, as high as $9 on the Caribbean coast. So very, very high pricing. And obviously that leaves you with a high margin business. We're one thing I'll also mention is we're also facing El Nino, and we're currently seeing the effects of that. So El Nino is a weather phenomenon. It essentially causes quite severe droughting, which puts heavy strain on hydro. Hydro makes up a pretty big part of the matrix in Colombia. So when you strain hydro, obviously the demand for gas goes up. Last El Nino, they saw gas prices as high as $11 per million BTUs. Our people on the ground in Colombia tell us it could be much higher than that. So you've got kind of the short-term pricing, but also the long-term pricing looks quite good as well. And here I just think it's important to point out, Ecopetrol's quite active offshore Colombia. You need a high pricing in gas to develop these fields. These are major, major fields. But it's very encouraging to see, the likes of Petrobras and Oxy and Shell, interested in Colombia gas fields. And that's what we're seeing here. Gorgon 2 was a discovery last year by Shell and Ecopetrol. Uchevo 1 was Petrobras and Ecopetrol. So yeah, there's been significant activity kind of heating up offshore Colombia, and I think overall it's a great sign for pricing, but it's also a great sign of what's to come. Long run for this country, it's probably going to be, much greater access to infrastructure on the coastal market. So it's very good for our assets long run. I'm going to hand it over to Vincenzo, who's going to walk through C9 and Maria Conchita.
Thank you very much, George, and hello to everybody. I'll try to give you in just a few minutes, where we are, what we are aiming for, and what are our plans. Let's start for C9. C9 is what we call the jewel of the crown. and we just have several blocks in one anticlinal faulted, and it's close to Canacol. And Canacol, it's the most active gas producing company in the country. They are close to 200 million standard cubic feet per day, even if lately they have been having some problems. Then Ocol, it's close by, and also La Luna Captiva, it's on the west side of the block. It's, as I mentioned, a faulted anticlinal with several structure and several objective like Brujo, Mágico, Hechicero, Mago, and Milagroso. This is again our crown, jewel of the crown, and we just drilled last year two wells that Mágico and Brujo, and was amazing because we in Brujo, for instance, it's the well with the most net pay in the area in the lower Magdalena Valley, and it's close to 400 net pay of gas plus the possibility or even more than that. Mexico also tested very very well, and we had close to 300 feet of prospective zone, and we tested up to 18, 21 million standard cubic feet per day from 3DST from Ciénaga de Oro. This is in the Brujo formation. You can see here Mágico and Brujo. Those two wells have already been drilled. We just used 2D seismic, and the success was just unbelievable. We have Hechicero 1X. That's the next well to be drilled during 2024, and the idea is running from the same platform as Brujo, and it's just a block between Brujo and Mexico. So there is no doubt that we will find the same the same gas net pay that we found in Brujo, and we also have in the C9 the possibility of find oil, and it's the well LAX1 that you can see on the top of the structure of the slide was drilled in 2018, and the core taken there showed 1,500 feet of oil, 33 degrees API. We do believe that we can have the best estimate of close to 280 million barrels of oil, and we are planning to go for testing this area probably during 2024. So we are expecting in Sino 9 to have a production close to 180 million standard cubic feet per day in the future, starting with 30 million during the first quarter of 2024 and reaching 40 million standard cubic feet per day by the mid of 2024. I know there has been a question about if there is enough capacity for the pipeline to move the gas that we are going to produce. Yes, we have just signed agreement with Kronos and with the company for treating and transporting gas to the main Promigas pipeline going from Hobo to Cartagena. As you know, there is also a new project coming on stream. Canacol is building a pipeline going from Hobo down to Medellin, together with the EPM, the public-owned company in Medellin. So we do believe that we will have enough space for transporting gas. We are about 25 kilometers away from the main Promigas pipeline, going up to Cartagena, and then with the building of the new gas line going to Medellin, we'll have opportunity to be in that market too. In relation to Maria Conchita, oh, sorry, by the way, just to mention, we finished last year a study, a reserve report with Sproul and contingents and prospective resources for C9 are close to 1 TCF. In Maria Conchita, we have 80% working interest, and this field is already on production, producing 7 million standard cubic feet per day. From Maria Conchita, we are about 14 kilometers away from TGI pipeline, which bring gas down to Bogota. At the same time, we are 25 kilometers away from the pipeline, which brings gas to Cartagena and Barranquilla from Chuchupa Ballena field. We re-entered the Aruchara 1 well during 2020. The Aruchara 1 well was drilled in 1980 by Texaco. They tested gas, but they decided at that time that gas was not their interest. So we re-entered during 2020 Aruchara 1 well. We were able to test 3 zones with 11 million standard cubic feet per day per each zone. And during 2022, we tested up to 16 million standard cubic feet per day from Aruchara 1. At the moment, we have 58.5 3P reserves and the possibility of going up in the high case to 137, 38 BCF of gas. And this was before we drilled Aruchara 3, that we are just delivering the well to the production operation during this weekend. We decide to drill Aruchara 3 well, looking for the same zone from Aruchara 1 in the lower Hemol formation, and we were successful. We tested what we call H1 and H2 up to 17 million standard cubic feet per day through DST test. At the moment, we also tested the same amount during the isochronal test. But what was interesting in the case of Aruchara 3, we found a zone of more than 1,500 feet of naturally fractured zone with presence of gas, and we decided to test the upper part of the what we call H4, and it's the medium Hemol formation, and we were able to test more than 22 million standard cubic feet per day. This will give to Maria Conchita a totally different approach. We are at the moment estimating the area and why those fractures are present. The fractures were identified to FDR, the image logs run by Halliburton. So the idea is in Sinunai to start commercial production, as I mentioned before, by the first quarter 2024 from the 2 wells that we drilled and tested, Brujo 1 and Mágico 1. And then by the mid of the year, by drilling Hechicero well, we should be able to reach 40 million standard cubic feet per day. Production that already been signed for treatment, transporting, and to the market. We are sure that we will go from contingent reserves to proven reserves by the end of the year by having those contracts signed and all the infrastructure starting to be building. In Maria Conchita, again connected to the main pipeline TGI at the moment, we are producing at the moment 7 million standard cubic feet per day, and we should be able, by connecting Aruchara 3, to reach 20 million standard cubic feet per day before the end of the year. We have contract at the moment at 550, but as George mentioned before, there are, the gas sold at more than $7 per million BTU, and even importing gas from Cartagena through the LNG regasifier unit present there, selling at more than $9 per million BTU. The third one is Tiburon. I personally like Tiburon very, very, very much. There is a possibility, mainly in Bahia Honda, we have three areas, Washir, Flamengo, and Bahia Honda. In Flamengo, we are running probably during next month, during 2024, 70 square kilometers of 3D seismic. There is a well, Flamenco, that was drilled in the past, tested, was not able to be tested because they had problem with well, but all the logs show presence of gas. Bahia Honda, it's in Tiburon itself, is pretty close to Orca. It's one of the offshore ecopetrol fields, 6 to 9 TCF, and more than everything, close to Perla, 16 TCF. Perla is in the Venezuelan offshore, and Eni and Repsol are producing gas from Perla. What we have in Bahia Honda, we have been able to see 2D, an old 2D seismic, and with the same structures as Perla and Orca. So we do believe that we can go, and we have planned to run a 2D seismic in Bayonda and see if we can convert those leads into prospective resources. So the idea is to increase reserves and secure infrastructure C9, ramp up production and cash flow at Maria Conchita, as I have been explaining. I think this is our presentation, and we will be very, very glad to answer any question that you have.
So is Colombia a net importer of gas? How supportive of the energy industry is the government? I will say that.
Colombia is not importing gas at the moment. Colombia is just in equilibrium. It's producing 1.2 BCF of gas per day, okay, and consuming 1.2. But in some area there is scarcity, and that's the reason for to import gas through the LNG plant in Cartagena, and that regasifying that LNG, and which has been sold at more than $9 per million BTU, and that's to cover the necessity close by Cartagena area. And in the future, the production in Colombia, it's going down. It's going up. Sorry, the consumption is going up. The production is going down, especially from Chuchupa Ballena. So will be plenty of opportunity for our gas to be sold and to be in at very high prices.
See a question here about a U.S. listing. I think an additional listing is something that the company is definitely looking into. Probably, have some progress and a bit of an update on that this year, I would hope. But certainly, looking to upgrade, where we're trading our shares. Is exporting natural gas production internationally via tanker / cross-border border pipelines an option in the medium term? Not in the medium term, but I think that activity from Ecopetrol offshore definitely does show you that if you hit a big field there, the country could become an exporter quite quickly. Um, and there's already been significant discovery there. But for the medium term, the country is all gas is for domestic consumption. They need all the gas that they can get in country. Get to one more question here. We have time. Has construction started on phase one? From there will be an update on phase one at C9 here in Q4. But as soon as construction has commenced, there will be an update out by the company. But thank you very much, everybody. Any other questions or any queries, please give us a call. The contact information is there on the screen, but call or email to the investor line, and we'll be happy to answer any questions that you have. But thank you very much for joining our presentation.